right? Staging or sculptural pieces, even like boats delivering art pieces or those things, right? Have it as a like a functioning mechanical kind of place rather than a duty-free shopping centre. That, I guess once that's fixed, then it's just going to move forward, and it's either going to be a complete disaster or it could be amazing. It could be absolutely, change Hong Kong completely. All of these plans, they have a kind of mega venue, the amphitheatre in the OMA. Is this the OMA? Yeah. And Rocco has the mega venue. Norman Foster has the mega venue, right? But all of these venues are in the wrong position because of sound, right? And with elements so close by, there's going to be a lot of sound disturbance to those people. It just seems a bit strange that there is no provision for rain. Like, they could have like rain covers that open, close. Like, that could be a feature of the architecture, so that it's not a fixed venue as such, right? Because you don't know what the event would be, and what the requirements of the organizer or the show may need, right? So I think a kind of modular system would be good, and they should maybe have some, instead of having like a fixed amphitheatre. I mean, this one has, I think, capacity for 15,000 people to sit down. But it's like, what if people don't want to sit down? What if they want to dance or interact with the show somehow, right? So if they had some designated areas that were just flat, and they could actually have like a dock as such, like some kind of mechanism, either hidden or concealed, or it can appear somehow, and they can have structures, modular structures that are stored on site, that are set up by a crew that could work in-house. And because another thing with Clockenflap, we experienced setting up a stage. Each time you do a new stage, if it's like a unique design, you need to have a structural engineer to authorize it and to do calculations, and that costs $50,000 for one stage. So it's kind of wasted money, because nobody really benefits from that in terms of the experience of the festival. It's just money. It's obviously a safety requirement, which is important, but it's kind of wasted money, I think. So if they had these systems that were pre-approved by a structural engineer, blah blah blah, they could just roll them out, fix them up. They could have big screens. They could have canopies, like ground support for lighting for these things, like staging, all that kind of stuff. And then it would be great as an organizer to have access to that, and you can pick and choose which bits you want, right? And there would be a charge for that, but that's just factored into the budget. But that would make it a really interesting and varied place to use. And also, I think people in Hong Kong, they're quite fickle and they get bored very easily. So if you just have an amphitheatre, and every time it's like same different show, same setting, people are going to get bored, right? Especially if they're forced to sit down. I would probably do away with actually having a mega venue. I would do away with it completely. I would just have mega structures that can be moved and rolled out, modular seating, and then that way every event would be different. And I think that would be really cool. And it would also, as people gain an experience of using West Kowloon, it would allow things to change and adapt according to lessons that are being learned once it's open. From an art side of things, I would actually focus on a kind of industrial, like, aesthetic, but not for aesthetic's sake, more the functionality. So I would like to see more designs and more structures and more facilities that resemble like a container port, for example, like or a factory building, or a warehouse. Maybe having I really like the idea of a huge crane that could actually kind of have a character. It could even be designed to have, it could be like a mascot somehow for West Kowloon. And I like the idea of this crane rolling around on like tram lines, and it can serve the whole site. And it can pick up. It can actually have obviously it functions in terms of moving art pieces around or loading things, but it could have a stage could be suspended beneath it. It could function somehow. It could add a kind of strange industrial kind of quality and life to the space.